Tonight we present
The Telepathy Experiment in Space, the Apollo 14 case. On February 5, 1971, during the Apollo 14 mission, a strange and inexplicable event occurred aboard the spacecraft. Edgar Mitchell, a NASA astronaut, while orbiting the moon, began to experience a sensation that would challenge the known laws of science and human perception. More than 400,000 kilometers from Earth, Mitchell felt an inexplicable mental connection with his colleague on Earth, Dr. Joseph B. Benowitz. However, the most astonishing aspect was that it was not just a vague intuition. It was a clear, distinct message with no ambiguities, one that arrived in an instant of absolute calm and made the mission take an unexpected turn. Mitchell didn't just experience telepathy in its purest form. He began questioning the boundaries between what is real and what is possible. His discovery would not only change the course of his life, but would also reveal a mysterious connection between the human mind and the universe, challenging the understanding of paranormal phenomena. Parapsychology, a scientific discipline that studies phenomena such as telepathy, clairvoyance, precognition, and out-of-body experiences, has always been surrounded by controversy. Since the early 20th century, with the first experiments by Joseph B. Rhine at Duke University, cases have been documented that defy known laws of physics and biology. Telepathy studies, for example, try to prove whether the human mind can communicate in some way without the mediation of traditional senses. Over the years, telepathy has been a topic of debate among scientists. While some defend its existence, others consider it a mere coincidence or even a fraud. However, Edgar Mitchell's case is one that continues to capture attention because it occurred under extraordinary circumstances and in a highly controlled observational context: outer space. Mitchell's story is deeply intertwined with the history of NASA and the Apollo program. Although his mission was scientific, the isolation and exposure to extreme conditions in space opened new doors to experiment with phenomena of extrasensory perception. In the case of telepathy, the key question Mitchell asked was, is it possible that the boundaries of space also open the doors of the human mind to new forms of communication? In the context of the Apollo 14 mission, Mitchell and his colleague, Commander Alan Shepard, were aboard the lunar module. During the long hours when the spacecraft orbited the moon, Mitchell began to experience an indescribable sensation. While Shepard focused on scheduled tasks, Mitchell went into a deep meditative state, something he had practiced throughout his career. It was in one of those moments of calm when, according to Mitchell, he received a clear mental message from his colleague Benowitz on Earth. This message was not merely a mental whisper. It contained precise details about the situation on Earth, information regarding scientific research, and, most unsettling of all, a sense of urgency that seemed to transcend distances and barriers of space. When Mitchell reported the phenomenon, his fellow crew members, including the flight controllers in Houston, couldn't understand how or why he had experienced this type of connection. Mitchell, for his part, was unwilling to dismiss it as a simple perceptual error, as some experts suggested. There was something in his experience that felt absolutely real, and his belief in the existence of telepathy began to strengthen. The event was documented in the official mission reports, though with notable caution. The mission control records did not directly mention telepathy, but did include notes about Mitchell's change in behavior and his statements about receiving unusual information. However, the documents were carefully worded, leaving an ambiguous interpretation of what had occurred. What was most striking about this event was that, before his spaceflight, Mitchell had studied the works of Rhine and other parapsychology researchers. He had first-hand knowledge of the experiments attempting to verify the existence of telepathy. However, he never imagined that he himself would become the center of a phenomenon that seemed to defy all laws of conventional science. As the mission progressed and Mitchell shared his experience with mission control and some of his fellow scientists, difficult questions began to arise. Was it possible that the extreme conditions of space influenced the astronauts' perception? Or was there something else, a form of perception that escapes our conventional understanding? Although many tried to downplay the incident, the feeling that something extraordinary had happened did not fade. Witnesses from NASA who were present during the communications with the astronaut, such as the flight controllers, began to notice that Mitchell seemed more introspective than usual. His behavior began to change. At times, he appeared to be completely unaware of his physical surroundings, as if he were immersed in an alternate reality. Some reports indicated that Mitchell did not respond quickly to mission control's instructions, which was highly unusual for such a trained astronaut. The question that arose among the scientists and the crew members was, what type of phenomenon had caused this experience? The reports of telepathy in the context of the Apollo 14 mission were vague, and some experts were skeptical. However, Mitchell was not willing to let it go. In his private conversations, he mentioned that he felt he had touched a dimension of the human mind that was, until that moment, unknown. Researchers began to review other incidents that had been reported in the past, looking for similar patterns. Throughout history, there have been documented experiences of people claiming to have felt mental connections with others, whether through dreams, visions, or even altered states of consciousness. But Mitchell's case seemed unique, as it occurred in outer space, in an isolated and highly controlled context. As Apollo 14's mission came to an end, the unease surrounding the incident continued to grow. Although the initial results were inconclusive, the telepathy phenomenon that Mitchell experienced was not easily dismissed. Without a clear scientific explanation, the mystery continued to fuel speculation and theories. The connection that Edgar Mitchell claimed to have experienced with Earth through telepathy left an unsolved riddle that would remain a topic of debate in the years to come. Upon returning to Earth, Mitchell's statements about his experience were not entirely understood by NASA, who remained cautious in their comments. However, many of his colleagues and parapsychology experts began to take his words seriously. And so, while humanity refocused on space exploration and the scientific trials of the Apollo mission, the question of whether telepathy truly exists or whether it is a human illusion remained unresolved, leaving a mystery that still resonates today. Upon his return to Earth, Edgar Mitchell found himself in an uncomfortable situation. His experience with telepathy in space was documented in NASA's official reports, but without providing further details about its exact nature. While some in the scientific community offered explanations ranging from suggestion to simple perceptual error, Mitchell could not shake the feeling that what he had experienced was real, a genuine connection beyond conventional physics. Several months passed before Mitchell dared to share his story with the world in a public forum. The opportunity came when he was invited to participate in an international conference on parapsychology organized by Princeton University in 1972. During his speech, Mitchell surprised the audience by recounting his experience in detail, explaining that while in space, he had felt his mind liberating from physical limitations, allowing him to experience a type of communication that didn't rely on traditional senses. Mitchell's testimony, coming from a NASA astronaut with an impeccable reputation, changed the landscape of parapsychology research. Although many still regarded it as an isolated case, the possibility that telepathy could occur under such extreme conditions drew the attention of both the scientific community and paranormal researchers. However, Mitchell was not interested in proving anything to conventional science. For him, the experience was clear enough to change his worldview. In the years that followed, the story of Mitchell's telepathy became a subject of debate. Some scientists considered it to be a mere case of suggestion influenced by the stress and isolation of space. Others, however, believed the case pointed to something much deeper, the possibility that the human mind has unknown capacities that go beyond what has traditionally been studied. The controversy reached its peak when, in 1976, a team of parapsychology researchers led by Dr. John B. Alexander initiated a research project funded by NASA to study psychic phenomena in astronauts. The experiment included the evaluation of potential psychic abilities among astronauts, as well as the analysis of reports from those who had experienced strange phenomena in space, such as Mitchell's case. As more testimonies and data were gathered, Dr. Alexander uncovered surprising patterns. Several astronauts, though not as public as Mitchell, had reported similar experiences, albeit less direct. Some spoke of feelings of mental connection with loved ones on Earth, while others reported sensing thoughts and emotions from their fellow crew members without the need for words. Although these testimonies lacked the scientific evidence needed to confirm telepathy, the coincidences were intriguing enough to warrant further investigation. Meanwhile, Mitchell, who had previously been a firm advocate for conventional science, began to adopt a more open stance toward studies of consciousness and parapsychology. In fact, in 1973, he founded the Institute of Noetic Sciences, INS, in California, with the aim of exploring the frontiers of the human mind and studying phenomena such as telepathy, precognition, and out-of-body experiences. His work focused on investigating the unknown capacities of consciousness, using his own experience as a starting point. In 1986, an unexpected twist in the research on telepathy in space occurred when a team of scientists from the United States government leaked classified information related to telepathy experiments conducted by the CIA. A declassified report revealed that the military had been investigating paranormal phenomena such as telepathy and remote viewing during the Cold War, in a project known as Stargate. Although the Stargate project had been discontinued in the 1990s, the revelations fueled speculation that the government had been involved in far deeper parapsychological research than had previously been known. In this context, new data emerged regarding the Apollo 14 mission. A subsequent analysis of the mission's communication records revealed a pattern that had not been noticed at the time. The radio signals between the spacecraft and mission control in Houston showed anomalies during the key moments when Mitchell reported his telepathic experience. An expert in space communications suggested that the radio transmissions had been distorted in an unusual manner at these specific moments, raising the question of whether there had been any psychic interference or even some kind of channeling of mental signals. The report on these anomalies was not fully disclosed, but some researchers began to link it to the theory that the human mind might interact with advanced technologies in ways that we do not yet fully understand. The final resolution of this mystery did not come quickly, but Mitchell's research on telepathy took on a new perspective. While NASA never officially confirmed that what had happened with Edgar Mitchell was a clear case of telepathy, further investigations by the scientific community and the growing interest in the phenomenon of expanded consciousness continued to increase. Mitchell, in the later stages of his life, reflected on his experience with telepathy in space during interviews in his final years. He stated that he never believed his case to be an isolated phenomenon. Instead, he believed that telepathy could be a latent human ability, something that all humans could develop under special conditions, such as those found in outer space, where the mind is liberated from the physical limitations of the body. Although he could never scientifically prove his experience, Edgar Mitchell left a lasting legacy in modern parapsychology. His work at the Institute of Noetic Sciences remains one of the main sources of research in the field of consciousness and extrasensory perceptions. Ultimately, the case of telepathy in the Apollo 14 mission was not fully resolved, but it opened new doors for the exploration of the human mind and its still unknown potential. Today, Edgar Mitchell's case remains one of the most fascinating in the history of parapsychology and space exploration. Was his experience a product of his mind in an extreme state of isolation? Or was there something more, something that transcends the understanding of current science? The phenomenon remains a mystery, and the debate on telepathy and other paranormal phenomena continues. However, one of Mitchell's most important legacies is the fundamental question he left open. How far can we truly go in understanding the human mind? As science continues to search for answers, the mystery persists, suggesting that there is more to be discovered, beyond the boundaries of perception and reason, waiting to be uncovered.
The questions don't end here, nor does our pursuit. If this story unveiled something you never expected to discover, then you're in the right place. Remember to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share this tale with others who, like you, are drawn to the unknown. Here, mystery always finds its voice, until we meet again, where the inexplicable will once again serve as our starting point.